सज्जनों, ये भारत में त्योहारों का मौसम है।
Hello and welcome from the venue of Global FinTech Fest in Mumbai, where more than 80,000 attendance was there in 2024 event. The tone was set by PM Narendra Modi's address, where he spoke about innovation, he spoke about FinTech's involvement, and also investing in research and development, whereby he announced 1 lakh crore has been allocated as fund.
पिछले 10 साल में फिनटेक स्पेस में $31 बिलियन से ज्यादा का निवेश हुआ है। दस साल में हमारे फिनटेक स्टार्टअप्स में 500% वृद्धि हुई है। आज कुछ ही मिनटों में घर बैठे ही डीमैट अकाउंट खुल रहे हैं, इन्वेस्टमेंट रिपोर्ट्स ऑनलाइन मिल रही है। आज बड़ी संख्या में भारतीय रिमोट हेल्थ केयर सर्विस ले रहे हैं, डिजिटली ऑनलाइन पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं, स्किल सीख रहे हैं। ये भी फिनटेक के बिना संभव नहीं था। यानी भारत की फिनटेक क्रांति डिग्निटी ऑफ लाइफ, क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ, उसको बेहतर बनाने में भी बड़ा रोल निभा रही है। फिनटेक सेक्टर की मदद के लिए सरकार पॉलिसी लेवल पर हर जरूरी बदलाव कर रही है। हाल में हमने एंजल टैक्स को हटाया है। हमने देश में रिसर्च और इनोवेशन को बढ़ावा देने के लिए 1 लाख करोड़ रुपए का फंड बनाने की घोषणा की है। हमने डेटा प्रोटेक्शन कानून बनाया है। मेरी हमारे रेगुलेटर से भी कुछ अपेक्षाएं हैं। हमें साइबर फ्रॉड को रोकने के लिए और डिजिटल लिटरेसी के लिए और बड़े कदम उठाने होंगे। साइबर फ्रॉड स्टार्टअप्स की, फिनटेक्स की ग्रोथ में रुकावट न बने, ये ध्यान रखना भी उतना ही जरूरी है। आज ओएनडीसी यानी ओपन नेटवर्क फॉर डिजिटल कॉमर्स, ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग को इंक्लूसिव बना रहा है। ये छोटे बिजनेस, छोटे एंटरप्राइजेस को बड़े अवसरों से जोड़ रहा है। अकाउंट एग्रीगेटर्स लोगों और कंपनियों का कामकाज आसान करने के लिए डेटा को यूज कर रहे हैं। ट्रेड प्लेटफॉर्म की मदद से छोटी संस्थाओं की लिक्विडिटी और कैश फ्लो बेहतर हो रहे हैं। ई रूपी एक ऐसा डिजिटल वाउचर बना है जिसे कई रूपों में इस्तेमाल किया जा रहा है।
India-UK Free Trade Agreement may fructify soon. My colleague Anurag Joshi spoke exclusively to Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal about FTA. He gave insights that he had a long discussion with a counterpart in UK.
We've had very good discussions with my counterpart, the Honorable Minister for Trade and Investments, Mr. Jonathan Reynolds. I had met him before the elections also, when he had come to India and he had confirmed the interests of the Labour Party to conclude an FTA with India and expand our comprehensive bilateral relationship. Of course, at that time he had said, if you finalize the FTA with the then government, we will support it when we come into power. If you do not finalize it, we will finalize it when we get into power. They had the confidence. We met also on the sidelines of the G7 meeting in Italy. They have just come into office. They're still, since I continue, I'm familiar with all the things, but they're still getting a hang of the past negotiations. At an appropriate time, we'll restart discussions. I've often said that we never put a deadline on any FTA negotiations. They have to evolve. They have to be a win-win for both countries or both set of countries. And they have to be a deal which I find for India fair, equitable and balanced. So the day we get that, we'll sign up.
Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikanta Das also pointed that 11,000 fintechs have been registered in India, and he also mentioned 5-point agenda for financial future of India.
India now stands on the cusp of a transformation where technology will be the engine to meet aspirations of every citizen. From mobile banking to digital payments, AI-driven lending, blockchain innovations, the fintech ecosystem is constantly evolving to meet the diverse needs of our growing economy. Digital technologies have been instrumental in expanding financial inclusion, improving efficiency, and enabling real-time services across the country. Today, India stands as a global leader in digital payments, a feat achieved by combining proactive policymaking with innovation and technological advancements. Collaboration between policymakers, regulators, and innovators is a defining element of India's fintech journey. The success stories in our fintech space, like Aadhaar, UPI, and the DigiLocker, are results of such collaborative efforts.
As the regulator has guided for the new environment, the biggest banker of the country, State Bank of India, is getting ready too. In an exclusive interaction with ET Now, newly appointed chairman C.S. Setty said the bank is on the path of achieving 1 lakh crore net profit, and it is getting ready for that.
I feel the next growth phase is also going to be MSME and agriculture. In the last 2 years, if you see, the credit growth also is secular in our book. It is not that it has come from only retail personal. It has come from retail personal, MSME, agriculture, and corporate. So the enablers which we have put in place in the last 3 to 4 years, I have an opportunity to leverage them, and I see a growth potential. And we are, you're aware that we are proxy to the Indian economy, and I'm sure I made a statement somewhere to my employees that if this is India's decade, it also has to be an SBI's decade.
So SBI has been maintaining a credit growth which is higher than India's nominal GDP. It's always 1.5 to 2% more than India's nominal GDP. Assuming that the nominal GDP is going to be anywhere between 10 to 11% or 11 to 12%, can I assume that the 13 to 15% credit growth for multi-years is here to stay, not just this year, but couple of years?
Yeah, I think it looks like. While you're right that and much of the credit growth is intertwined with the GDP growth rate, I see that our guidance in terms of 14 to 15% credit growth looks like that here to stay for at least a couple of years.
Return ROA, the most magical number for SBI, is now above 1%. NIMs are perhaps best in the industry. Corporate profitability is really growing in the in double digit. So can I say that if not this year, certainly next year, SBI is on course. I'm going to hold my breath when I put that number. Is on course to be the first company or the bank in India, that number, to cross 1 lakh crore.
Without sounding, giving a forward guidance, I can say that this institution has the potential to reach.
But am I thinking right that you headed there?
We are heading there. We are heading there, and obviously the aspiration is to be there, and the aspiration to be the first company to be there. And I strongly believe that this company has got, bank has got the potential.
If you have to reach
there.
this mark of 1 lakh crore, you need the economy and the credit cycle in your side, and you need the NPA cycle not on your side. These are two things which have to happen. Economy and credit cycle has to be with you, and NPA cycles have to be away from you. So can I say for 3 years you don't see a NPA cycle coming in corporate also and in unsecured loans also?
I think let's first talk about the corporates. I think corporates by and large are deleveraged, and they're also cautious in terms of borrowing.
Another lender, Yes Bank, is hopeful of garnering deposits despite other banks struggling on it. In an exclusive interview to ET Now, Prashant Kumar, MD and CEO of Yes Bank, said that the bank has adopted digital journey quite fast and it is helping them in getting business.
We launched a app for our retail customer, and we are seeing a very good adoption. So already almost 2.8 million customers have registered and have started using the retail app. We also launched a payment app, YesPay Next, and we are also seeing a very good adoption. And some of the large merchants have adopted this as their unique partner. So we are seeing in terms of the transactions happening through those apps. We are also in the process of launching a app for the businesses. So fundamentally, in the future, how we would like to see that all our customers, retail would be having a retail iris and the business would be having a business iris.
So there is no merger kind of a thing planned. These apps will remain separate.
For the time being, because these are two distinct market segments and they also have their own requirements. But going ahead, if we see in terms of any convergence, then we will see. But fundamentally, these would be the two apps.
Right. We have talked about technology now. Other problem which many of the banks are facing is deposits. I want to understand from your point of view, how do you see that? Do you see there is a problem of getting deposits? Now, Reserve Bank of India governor has also mentioned that banks should adopt innovative ways for garnering deposits. How do you look at it?
No, I think this is what we are hearing also, and this is what I think is being faced by the banks, and the deposit growth for the industry is not a very, very healthy kind of thing. But at least within Yes Bank, I think the most important part that our deposit growth is 22%.
Right.
Even the
That is why I asked this question.
And even the CASA growth is 23%. Okay. And right from the beginning, we have maintained that our deposit growth would be higher than the loan growth. So I think we are able to take care. But I think it's a challenge, and definitely going forward, everybody together need to see how we can improve the deposit growth, because otherwise the only option would be to taper down the loan growth, which may not be a good solution, because ultimately banks have to support the economic development of the country. So I think in terms of how the deposit growth can be better and without putting huge pressure on the income side is something, because ultimately they have to be passed on to the loan customer.
Definitely.
Which would again not be something good. So I think the only solution would be how we can further improve on the deposits.
Another thing is that we have seen that in terms of your credit growth, you have been conservative, yet you have grown. So what is the strategy? You do not want to take faster kind of a route?
I think our experience shows that on the loan growth, whenever you go very fast or aggressive, it would haunt you in terms of the credit cost. So I think we have been very cautious. Now we are growing around, say, 15% kind of thing. The best part is now our credit growth is coming from all segments. So one segment, which was the corporate, was actually till March was missing. Now the corporate has also started showing a double-digit growth. So I think going forward, we would be having contribution coming from corporate, mid-market, MSMEs, and the retail. But this is more of a balancing approach, because sometimes in the economy what happens, one particular segment would fire. Now today, like corporate is giving a good growth, retail has tapered down. Right. Okay? But if you are having a presence in all the segments, you have the capabilities, then depending on the opportunities, they can contribute to your loan growth. But I think we are quite confident that we would be registering a deposit growth of around 20% plus, and the loan growth between 15 to 17% being contributed from all these segments.
One question which I am sure many would have asked, but it's my duty to ask again, so I'm asking. We have heard many investors who are interested in Yes Bank. What is actually happening? Are there any investment talks which are going on?
Well, I think all this conversation, I think the first important thing is that all this conversation is happening around the stake sale of the banks who have invested in us. So I think that those banks who have invested in us, they would be in a better position to answer those questions.
HDFC Bank has been on the path of new digital era, and in an interaction with ET Now, Parag Rao of HDFC Bank mentioned that the bank has already done the heavy lifting part and getting ready for the new era.
So yes, you're right in that we've finished a reasonable large amount portion of our heavy lifting in terms of when we were transforming, and we started this journey about 3 years back. There's always something left, and there's newer things happening, but a large portion of our transformation is almost through. Okay, to ask me what is our next 2 to 3 year strategy, I think we've got to build up the scale. We've got to ensure that customers adopt and adapt to these new digital ways of interaction with the bank. It, of course, and as you know, we still continue to grow in the physical space, and we're launching a new number of branches, etc. But I think that's our key task: drive digital, drive adoption of digital, drive efficiencies through the digital, and it's now, I think, payback time for our digital investments.
We have seen quite many launches from HDFC Bank in the past, especially in the cards front. So are you looking at this space very aggressively?
You're talking specifically of the card space?
Yes.
Well, yes, definitely. We're pretty bullish about the growth prospects of cards. And I've maintained this always, that I think it's a complementary growth strategy. What do I mean by that is, I think the growth of the stupendous growth of UPI as a form, which has seminally ensured that large number of customers have got onto electronic transactions. They're used to a direct-to-account way of payment. A credit card, I think, is the next logical step for upgrade of financial service or a payment product. Okay, and as a result of which you see, I think, the growth in the credit card space, which you're already seeing in the last 2 to 3 years, I think continue.
Not only big banks, but GFF was also attended by players like MobiKwik. Its co-founder Upasana Taku told us that they are hopeful that IPO Bhagwan will give them blessing.
As of March 24 audited numbers which are out in the public, we have turned profitable. We have a EBITDA of 37 crores and a PAT of about 15 crores as well, on a revenue of 890 crores. So once we were reaching that destination, we could already see that in December, that by March we will be a fully profitable company. So we started working towards an IPO application. We filed it in January. And interestingly enough, our sector is very heavy on regulations. So because of some events that unfolded, there was very heavy regulatory scrutiny on our application. I'm happy to tell you that we cleared that, and then they were looking at all the different key topics. And I think that they've covered most of the topics, and they are now looking at one last, technical matter. So, when SEBI gives the approval is not really in my hand. But I think we are in the last stages, and we are looking forward because, we are doing well on the growth side. We grew our business about 60% from 23 to 24 fiscals. We've turned profitable at the PAT level, without any adjustments, so to speak. So, and currently also this year the company is doing well. We are innovating, we are adding new products, we are also growing. Between April, May, June, I'm happy to tell you that we've also become the largest wallet now as per statistical data on RBI website. And so our market share has increased from about 12% to 23%. So many good things are happening.
Another large fintech player, Cred, spoke about the use of artificial intelligence. Its founder, Kunal Shah, said that artificial intelligence is bringing changes.
I think what we are going through is a very interesting change where historically, if you think about it, like not too long ago, it was, we had, let's say, information showed up in air, right, with internet, right, and the world changed dramatically. For the first time, we have intelligence showing up in air, and the world is going to change one more time, right? And when the world is changing, you have to lead from the front. right? So that you are able to drive the org for the change. Most orgs don't want to change, right? Why would somebody want to adopt AI unless it's there from the top, right? But we have to understand that when the world is changing and efficiency is kicking in, you have to be the first ones riding it versus getting impacted by it. And I think we are entering an exciting period for India because we can actually accelerate through AI just the way we accelerate through internet.
Of course. Also, your another segment, Cred Cash, how is that holding up? Your plans and strategy to expand in that segment?
Because we focus on the more credit-worthy prime, super prime customers, that's holding up quite well, but the stress is being felt in, let's say, the subprime segment, where RBI has kind of already done a lot of corrections and told fintechs and banks to kind of be extra cautious about that. But in terms of this business, it seems to be holding up well, considering that it focuses on the higher quality customers. And I think that segment, if you see both on consumption, when it comes to credit, when it comes to secured credit, when it comes to also their wealth market participation, that seems to be consistently growing well for the country.
Of course. So last question to you will be like, as we know that fintech markets is growing and it's have doubled in a couple of years. So talking about Cred, what's the profitability, and if we know about IPOs coming in, any plans?
Yeah, we are only 5.5 years old, but we get all the pressure of being a very large company.
Of course you will.
I think the intent is to kind of keep growing revenue consistently. We are a very healthy growth rate of revenue, and we intend to kind of keep doing this for a bit. Obviously, every company's intent is profitability, and hopefully in a few years from now, we should be profitable. Will we think about IPO or not? That's a very, very far out thought right now.
We not only did a lot of interactions, but also sneak peek at various counters to new launches which happened at Global Fintech Fest. RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das had launched UPI Circle, and I thought of visiting a counter, how it actually works. We are at booth of Google Pay at Global Fintech Festival, and one of the new things which has been launched by Reserve Bank of India Governor recently has been UPI Circle. Now, what is UPI Circle? Suppose there is a situation where you do not want to give wallet to your kid or your spouse, but now by adding them into the circle, they can be making the payments of UPI. Yes, that is a feature of UPI Circle. There is also a demo team with me which is standing here. These are the two phones. For instance, there are two users. The user 1 is having the primary authorization of payment, and user 2 is taking the instruction. So by approving the authorization of user 2, the user 1 can add them to the circle, and later on at their own convenience, the user 2 can make the payments. So by adding into the UPI Circle, you can enable other person to make payments. They don't need to send any photograph to you of QR code for making payments, but instantly that payment can happen only by authorization of the primary user. Apart from that, there is also a feature of enabling a monthly limit, so that even without your presence, the secondary user can make payments, can use UPI, but that monthly limit will be decided by you. As the Global Fintech Fest wraps up, it is clear that India is on the path of significant digital transformation. From various launches to innovations, a lot happened at GFF. But one thing is clear from the event, that India is rising. This is Ankur Mishra signing off from Global Fintech Fest.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.